have Megan Anderson from MBS Highway on today. She's going to be talking. I know we had Diana on, I think 2 months ago, just going over some best practices with MBS, but Megan is going to be focusing more on the social side of things, communicating that with your audience, showing us some of the features that MBS has to offer, because it's an awesome platform and you should be leveraging every part of it. So we're going to make sure that you know the ins and outs. Megan's going to be covering all of that. So Megan, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm extremely excited about this topic. I think that it is very relevant. Many of you have probably heard me speak at different industry events throughout the years, and my main topic has been talking about social media and promoting your brand and your business by video, essentially. And so we're going to be talking about how you can really leverage the tools within MBS Highway to kind of upkick your guys's social media and the way that you engage with people and attract and convert leads. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen here. Can you just confirm you can see my screen okay?
Yep, you're good.
Perfect. So first and foremost, just to kind of give a rough overview of MBS Highway, if you guys don't know what it is, this is a platform that was created to help you guys become better advisors. And you guys know this, when you sound more confident and comfortable, what happens? Well, you naturally become a little bit more magnetic. You naturally attract referral partners. You naturally attract clients because they trust you. And when you're not confident, you know how extremely uncomfortable that can feel. And that all correlates, whether it's conversations that we're having or us putting ourselves out there on social media, which we'll be talking about today. Now, one of my favorite tools within MBS Highway, in that you guys, this is a non-negotiable, whether you've been in the business for a year or 25 years, it is extremely important to stay up to date with what is happening in the market right now and what's happening in the market in the future. And the reason that this is so important is, one, no one wants to be in the business but the same thing year after year after year, right? We constantly want to be progressing and we constantly want to learn and know what we're talking about. You guys don't want to go to a doctor that got his medical degree and never picked up a book since, right? You want to know the one that is looking into new ways of treatment. What's the best way to do this? How has this turned out? You want to be with that forever learner. And the same thing for you guys, but it's something that you have to step up and you have to do. No one's going to do it for you. Of course, MBS Highway is there to help though. We do have our morning update video. So we do the work for you guys. We'll read all the news articles that are out there. We'll read about the different reports that are coming in that day. You know, today we got mortgage apps. We also got to see inflation. We got consumer price index. Tomorrow we're going to see inflation on the wholesale side with producer price index. And it's really important to understand these things because it's going to help us sound more confident with our clients, with our referral partners. But not only that, when it comes to social strategy, the reason that this kind of content is so important is because it's going to help you in growing your business by relieving points of friction. When we can alleviate a point of friction, that's when we start to see exponential growth in our business. And if you know what's happening in the market right now, well, then you know what some of those points of friction might be. And if you know where the market's going to be headed in the future, well, then you're going to be able to plan out a marketing strategy, essentially, that's going to be helping you alleviate points of friction in the future. And again, bulletproof your business and keep it growing. So this is a morning update video. Today, today's a really funny song. So we always try and fit the song to match what's happening with, you know, the world going on. And we got a report yesterday that 2.9% overall in the job market and 3.3% in the private sector, a total of 4.27 million people quit their jobs in the month of August. Yet we have all these job openings. Now, who knows the whole story there? Who knows if they're going and getting higher paid jobs, what have you? But it's just, we put a funny song. I'll play the song for you guys a little bit.
3 million U.S. workers quit their jobs in August. That's 3% of the workforce that are telling their employers.
You guys will laugh at this. Just hold on. So they told their bosses to shove it. I mean, we like to have fun here on MBS Highway. It creates a fun financial culture. But again, watching this every single day, you guys, is going to keep your confidence levels up. And what I would do personally on social media, because listen, it's one thing for you to listen to a video, right? It's another thing for you to go have a conversation with a client, go have a conversation with a referral partner covering the topics that are talked about within the morning update video. So what I would encourage you guys to do is not just watch this morning update. Listen, when I started here, and listen, my mom was an originator growing up. My dad was a builder. So I was in this space for as long as I can remember. But when I started at MBS Highway, I was like, oh shit, what do these people do? I don't feel like I know anything. And so when I started at MBS Highway, I'd watch this morning update, I'd jot down all the notes that I have, and I'd go Google it and like make sure that I understood it. And then what I would do is I'd start to obviously create content for MBS Highway that kind of articulated these points. And we'll dive into that content, but same goes for you guys. You should watch this video and then recap it in a shorter video and either blast that out on social media, send it, through BombBomb and email to your list, whatever the case may be. Send that out there so that you're positioning yourself as the trusted advisor. So that's one thing that I would do. And you don't have to do this every day if that overwhelms you. Maybe you do it weekly and you pull some, fun facts. One thing that I think is really fun to do, and I think creates a lot of engagement on social media, is having like a weekly show. Maybe you go live weekly. Here we are at the Art of Home Ownership, and they're providing you with weekly webinars that you guys can attend to learn and soak up all this content and everything that is offered. So do the same thing, but do it for the people that follow you on social media. That way they get consistent with you and they know that it's coming. And they know, oh, every Monday I got my market update with Marvin. All right, I'm going to go in and I'm going to watch it. I know it happens right at 9 o'clock. That's how you start to engage more people and grow your audience. So make sure that you're watching this every single day. And then, there's not every day where we're going to post a video. So we also give you guys static content that you can go ahead and be consistent with as well. Whenever we get, an economic report, a housing report that comes out, the last one we had was the BLS jobs report, what have you, you guys can come in here. We already have written content for you. So let's say I wanted to post this one. I'm going to go control copy. Great. I want to post it on my Facebook page. Now you have to be logged into Facebook for this to work, but you just go control paste, and then you could go ahead and you could post that on whatever platform it is that you want to go ahead and host that on. So that's a great way to do it as well. And another one that I want to point out is Social Studio. This is one of my favorite tools here on MBS Highway. I have seen originators overcome their fear of video, and I've seen them increase their business. One guy's name that I throw out there all the time because I'm really close with him is Eric Lay out of Boise, Idaho. He, since using Social Studio, has 4x'd his business by just making sure that he's using video every single day. And it's funny because when he started out, he was, I just don't know how I feel about doing social video. I'm a little insecure about it. Like, are people going to like what I'm saying? Are people even going to watch? I went live once and there was one person for about 30 seconds and then they came off. Like, I don't know, kind of terrified me. But once he started doing this and getting consistent with this, you know what it did? Not only did he start to attract more leads, and not only was he more fulfilled because people would reach out to him and say, wow, you really helped me feel more comfortable and confident about purchasing a home, or, whatever the case may be. But he started to grow his business. He started to attract new referral partners. And all he did at first was get consistent with Social Studio because he wasn't really comfortable with creating his own content on video at first. And that's what I think this tool is really great for as well. So we have scripts already in here for you. Everyone has been talking about the Fed tapering, what's going to happen with rates. We've seen that when this tends to happen, rates start to go up. So let's communicate that to our clients. Let's communicate that to all these people that are saying, oh, homes are so unaffordable right now, I'm just going to wait. Well, do they really want to wait? Because that appreciation, while it might slow down, it's not going to go away. And not only that, but if the Fed starts cutting their asset purchases, which we think that they're going to do, and they're going to announce at their November 3rd meeting and begin doing that in December, well, then we're going to see rates go up. So maybe they want to get in now while appreciation is so strong and rates are so low. Well, let's articulate that to our audience in a way that's easy for them to understand. So, you know, you can scroll through here. We have all different ones. What's the difference between a pre-qual versus a pre-approval? Why is the Fed funds rate not my mortgage rate? Come on, I want that 0%. What's going on? Once you're ready, you're just going to click next. You can proceed from your mobile, or you can proceed from desktop mode. You can come in here, allow camera access, which I don't know if it'll work because I'm using this camera on Zoom right now. It won't. Let me try and stop this just so you guys can get the full effect. Here we go. All right, so now that we're in here, you can see that you can hit scroll preview. You can adjust the scroll speed. Now, for those of you that have MBS Highway, or those of you that are thinking about getting MBS Highway, I've practiced this so many times. So I recommend scroll speed 4 or 5. I recommend that you read through the script a few times before you do it. And you'll notice that scroll speed 4, like, you might be saying, Megan, you are a slow reader. Like, what in the world? Listen, there's a reason that I like to keep it a little bit slower. People, when they tend to start to use teleprompter tools like this, they'll speed it up to where they can barely get through it. And then, you know, they're talking like this and it's just a little bit crazy. And people can tell that they're reading a script at that point in time. So we want to sound as natural as possible. We also want to allow a little bit of time to maybe add your own words in, add inflection in your voice. And we don't want to sound monotone, you know, it's not going to keep us engaged in watching that video. So the nice thing about this is, I mean, if you can read, you guys can create videos. So here we go. We'll hit record and I'll show you guys what I mean. There's a lot of talk. Oh, sorry. That was a little bit. But you read through the script. Once you're done, you download this. You can upload this to any social platform that you want to go ahead and post it on. Maybe you want to send it out through email. This is a great way to keep people engaged and also grow your social media. Now, I use this all the time for other stuff as well. You know, when I'm promoting events or I'm creating video scripts to promote MBS Highway, I have my own scripts in here. There's also area specific scripts where we'll pull in your exact location and where you're located. And I highly recommend this one as well. And then I know we're not going through a full kind of demo of MBS Highway right now. But what I want to highlight is just some of the tools and how you could use these in your social media content as well. So, you know, right now, inventory, especially on that lower end, is really tight. And oftentimes in a lot of places, we're seeing people coming over asking price. And it's a personal story. I'm going to get a little personal with you guys right now, but I bought my first home last October in Florida. And by the time I put in an offer, there were 4 other offers on that home. And so what do? I go up to Barry and I'm like, Barry, there's 4 other offers on the home. I'm going to have to make my offer more competitive. I know I'm going to have to come in above asking price. I'm completely terrified. Like, what makes sense? I don't know. Help me out. Well, that was the birth child to this tool, the bid over asking price. And what this tool shows us, and we don't have to go into the tool completely, but essentially this tool is going, well, let's go into it because I'm just going to show you how you could kind of use this. So let's say, you know, you're using the tools of MBS Highway to overcome a challenge with a personal client, right? This is a first-time home buyer. They're terrified about coming in over asking price, but they know they have to make their offer competitive. So they're asking you how much, and they're still completely terrified. So what are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to mitigate their fears, and we're trying to ultimately get them to put an offer in on that home. So this will auto plug all the information in if you have an MLS, but I don't because I'm just like going off the whim with you guys right now. But let's go to my old zip code. Now I'm in Jersey. And let's say that they paid $300,000 for the home back in 2019. They bought it in February. The current asking price is $350,000. And let's say that they bought this in 2020. Now the current asking price is $350,000 and they're thinking about coming in $10,000 above asking price. Again, this will automatically fill in if you have that listing number, but what this tool is going to show us is that, okay, I know that you're terrified, Mr. and Mrs. Client, of coming in $10,000 above asking price, but did you know that due to appreciation and the forecasted appreciation in your area, you know, you're actually going to break even on that investment in 7 months? Because realistically, that's what the client wants to know. They just want to know, how long am I kind of in the red on this? When am I going to be on the green on my investment coming $10,000 and above asking price? Well, in this case, you know, it might take them 2 months to close, right? So 5 months after they close, they're just getting settled in that home. Well, now they're making a profit. Now they're in the green. And not only that, but we're going to showcase to them very visually that 5-year forecasted appreciation. Okay, so let's pretend you went through this with a client. That particular client's feeling really good about it now, right? Well, we can do some things as far as creating content for social media at that point in time. One, what you could do is you could come in here, you could record your screen. Obviously, we can't name names and give client pertinent information, but you can take an example of that and create a video for social media and say, hey, are you thinking about purchasing a home, but you're getting a little bit discouraged because your offer isn't getting accepted and you're a little bit worried about coming in above asking price? Well, let me show you what it's looking like and how I was able to help a client in our area. And walk through a scenario and share that with them. Or better yet, get the client that you helped alleviate that pain point from to do a video with you. And of course, you guys can show this piece because it also makes for a good call to action at the end. And let's walk through kind of the steps of video here really quick. So I'm not showing here I was like looking at you guys and my video wasn't on. Let's walk through the steps of video really quick because this will be helpful. And you can do this with all the tools that you walk through, okay? So in engaging video for social media, we want to follow a video structure. And the reason I follow a video structure is because otherwise, I don't know about you guys, but like I like to ramble. So I will go on and on and on, and I'll make the point repetitively. And you know what happens when we do that? It loses its effectiveness. Not only that, but let's think about your guys' social media behaviors. What do you do when something's boring? On to the next, on to the next. You keep scrolling, right? So we have to make it engaging. That's why I follow this video structure. The first thing that you want to start out with is a hook. What the hook is going to do is it's going to hook that audience in. So the first thing you want to think about is, who is my target audience? Who am I trying to address with this video? So in this instance, if we were to use this exact scenario with that bid over ask, well, our target audience then would be someone that's purchasing a home, right? That they're trying to make their offer more competitive and they're a little bit terrified about it. That's our specific detailed target audience, okay? So now that we know that, what we want to do is we want to address them within the first 5 to 7 seconds of the video. Let them know what the video is about and who the video is for. So again, that hook might be, are you looking to purchase a home, but every time you do, your offer doesn't get accepted and you're a little bit worried about coming in above asking price? Okay, so now they know that the video is for them. They're hooked into it. After the hook, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the payoff or solution. That's where you come in and provide valuable insight. Well, let me show you how I helped alleviate that pain point of one of my past clients. Walk through the scenario, walk through the tool with them. And then the last thing that you want to do is you want to have a call to action. That call to action is going to be the next step that you want them to take. People always leave the call to action off the videos. And I know when I first started, I hated having a call to action because I don't like to be salesy, right? And it seems kind of salesy. It feels a little bit uncomfortable, but it doesn't have to be salesy. All you're doing is providing value. And in this instance, the call to action could simply be, if you want to see what this looks like for your specific scenario, reach out to me and I can create this piece for you. Does that sound salesy to you? No, it doesn't have to be, buy a home with me today. Let's go buy a home. Come on, 10,000, 20,000. Let's go above asking price. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be to schedule an appointment in your calendar, to comment below where they're looking to purchase, to send you a message to create this piece for them. Whatever the case may be, remember, it doesn't have to be salesy. So we have the hook, the solution, and the call to action. And I really recommend that you guys use that on all of these tools. So again, I just shared the bid over ask tool that you could do that on, but there's so many. Listen, the buy versus rent, this one is going to showcase, is it better to buy or better to rent, and how much better is it? Well, how many of your clients or potential clients right now are struggling with answering that question? They've seen home prices rise, but now, depending on where you're located, maybe you're in a heavily dense area like Manhattan, or maybe you're in San Francisco, whatever the case may be. We saw rental prices decline during the peak of COVID, right? Everyone was scattering away and we saw rental prices come down. But now, since homes have appreciated so much, we've seen rental prices skyrocket in a lot of areas, and they're going to continue to do so with this hot appreciation. So create content that addresses them. Again, go into that hook, go into the payoff, go into that call to action. And you can do that on any of these tools. And I know we have some questions in chat boxes. On the videos, is there thoughts to be able to have a background like you could with Zoom? No, there's not. You're not going to be able to kind of edit that background. You'd have to edit it afterwards if you wanted to do that. Which can be slightly cumbersome if you don't have a set area. But I really do also recommend that if you're going to be doing videos consistently, just take the time to create a nice background for yourself. I just came into this office. I have my MBS Highway, which I guess is good, but like in my ideal background, it would be things that are important to me that people will be like, oh, you have a weird sculpture back there. What's the story between that? It gets people asking questions. Like I was on a call last week with someone and they had this little Wally. You guys know the cartoon Wally. He had this little Wally machine behind him. And I was like, oh my gosh, is that Wally? And it turned into like a 12-minute conversation about him and his daughter building this little Wally thing. What did that do? Well, it really built our relationship between someone that I didn't even know. And it reminded me of good times that I had with my dad building things. You also want to have stuff that's going to promote your company. So I have MBS Highway in the background. Maybe you have a podcast. Great. Maybe you want your logo or something in the back. So people are constantly kind of, because that's what people do, right? Let's be honest here. How many people on this Zoom call right now have been analyzing the backgrounds and looking at where we're located? Or how many of you do that when you're looking at social media posts and someone posts something and there's something weird in the background? You're like, no way. Like, is that a rapper on the floor? Like, what's going on? Is that a dog? We do that. We're naturally curious humans. So make sure that you think about it and they're asking you what you want.
A good one is bookshelves too. I know Danny on our team, like he has a bookshelf and he'll put his favorite books behind him to spark those, because so many people in this industry are like reading self-help books and can relate, and that starts the conversation, just like you said, especially if you're on a call versus creating content. I think it can give them a little glimpse if you're posting a video and you see it in the background. It just kind of shows them a little bit about who you are. So I like that.
100% agree.
Was there another question? Oh no, that was just Jennifer. Thanks. Megan, did you want to go over anything else in Social Studio or any other like MBS best practices before we jumped into more of like a Q&A?
I mean, if we have time at the end, I can go through some of the top tools with you guys, but I don't want to like shift gears from it being heavily, tool focused versus social media marketing focused. So I say we go with the questions, and then if we have time left over, I'll dive into my favorite tools.
Okay, cool. I'll cover the questions that I have here, and then if anyone else has questions, throw them in the Q&A or raise your hand. We can bring you in to talk. But the one question, and you sort of covered this, but how often should loan officers aim to communicate the market updates to their audience? So based on how the market is fluctuating, the changes going on, what kind of key points should they look for to say, okay, I should record a video and tell my audience?
Well, obviously, when the market starts to get more volatile, which we've seen as of recently, that's a great time to start to upkeep that, especially if you're doing kind of market updates. But in general, my general response would be, and this is kind of an evergreen response, so it'll work no matter what market we're in, is pick what works for you. I don't agree with people that are saying, no, you need to post 3 times a day, 7 days a week. No, you know what you need to do? 1, you need to get your job done, what your actual job is. And 2, what you need to do is you need to do something that's going to be consistent for you. We're about to hit the new year here. And what happens when the new year comes along? Well, people have these New Year's resolutions. So what do? Oh, I'm going to get fit this year. I'm going to go into the gym. I got my hot girl summer coming along. I'm ready to go. What happens? They maybe go every day for the first 2 weeks. Let's say they make it 2 weeks. Most people don't even make it that long, but they go every day for 2 weeks. Well, the next thing you know, they're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm so sore. My body, I can't move anymore. Like I'm in pain. And then what happens? Well, they don't go in for 2-3 months. And that's what happens with people when they start to get overly excited about social media and saying that they're going to do this and post all these things. So I would get realistic with yourself. Sit down, look at your calendar and say, okay, how much time can I time block out of my calendar to actually get this content done? And if it's only one day a week, then it's one day a week. And if you know you're the kind of person that does this, because I'm that kind of person where you're like, no, like I can do this 5 days a week. I know I can. You know what? I appreciate you and your efforts, but I have to have this conversation with myself, and I recommend you guys do too, is say, okay, I could probably do 5, like I know I could do 5, but let's start out with 3 and let's just be consistent with it for a month. And if I'm consistent with that for a month, then I'll step it up. So it's not just about getting to that end result right now. It's what do we need to establish to kind of get there? What are the practices, the behaviors, the habits? So I would just sit down and be realistic with yourself, whether it's 1 day a week, 3 days a week, 5 days a week, 7 days a week, 3 times a day. It's the way to go.
And one thing that you said that I want to emphasize is block it out on your calendar. Because I know for myself, if I want to record a video and I don't schedule time to actually record the video, that video is not getting recorded. So block it out on your calendar so that when that pops up, you know that is your time dedicated to creating content and recording. Even set the topic ahead of time, like know exactly what you're going to record and the topic that you want to communicate. I think that's an important part of actually getting it done.
100%. And if you also are the kind of person where it's easy to talk yourself out of doing video, which some days it can be like that, not every day do I want to be behind the camera. But if you know that you're that kind of person, get an accountability partner. Say, okay, we're going to do this 1 time a week. We're both going to block it out at this time. We're going to do it together. We can help each other film. Or if you just talk yourself out of it because you don't like being on camera alone, then start to create content with someone else. Just having that accountability can be a huge help.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that was my next question, is what is the best way to communicate these updates? And the answer would be video. But for someone that's looking to do a few different kinds of content going out, so email marketing, social media, how is the best way to tackle all those different mediums?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of video. I really love, like, if you're going to do like a weekly show or a weekly update like that, I would recommend that you go Facebook Live and do that. And then from there, once you have that one video, then take that and you can post that video elsewhere. So maybe you go Facebook Live. Okay, we go Facebook Live, but now I'm going to download that video. At that point in time, maybe I want to edit it a little bit, add my logo in the beginning and outro, whatever. You don't have to do that. But anyways, download it. And then, okay, now I'm going to go post it to LinkedIn. Now I'm going to post it to Instagram. Now I'm going to go post it, wherever the case may be. Now I'm going to upload it and put it in my emails and blast that out to my CRM. I find that it's easier with video to just create the video and then get it posted. And another thing about video too is, let's say that you guys are going to host a Facebook Live where you're talking in depth about something and it's going to be a longer video. Let's say it's going to be, you're going to go live for 15 minutes or 10 minutes and give your market update of the week. Well, what you can do to create more content where you're also not having to think about, oh my gosh, I have to create 5 more pieces this week. Let's go. Like, what am I going to talk about? Take that longer 5-minute video and chunk it down into little micro content where you tease it, where you tease different topics that you talk about. And we do that with our Facebook Lives that we do on MBS Highway. We just had Dr. Michael Roizen on, and, we have people all the time. But we take that, we chop it into micro content. So it's usually like 45 minutes. But from that, we can get 10 to 15 different pieces of little micro content. And, you do 2 of those a month, you're set for content for a long time. So think about ways that you can also just leverage what you're already doing to create more content.
Yeah, that's spot on. From a general marketing perspective, not necessarily MBS specific, what have you seen because I know you work with LOs a lot when it comes to social media marketing. What have you seen out of the people that really stand out on social media?
Definitely, I know that I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but the people that are consistent is
Hmm.
the biggest thing, because one thing about being consistent is, well, you're staying top of mind continuously, but then we have these things called the algorithms and, all this stuff. And if someone posts and maybe you engage with that post, but now they don't post for 3 months, well, likely when they do decide to post again, you're probably not going to see their content. It might be like, hey, Megan posted to her story the first time in a while, click here to check it out.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you're going to drop off on that level of engagement. It's going to turn down that algorithm. So I would say consistency is probably the biggest thing. And then honestly, and this is something that each and every one of you is just going to have to overcome yourself, is it's the people that are confident, the people that are just out there and they're doing it and they're not afraid to talk about whatever it is that they're talking about. And listen, if you don't feel comfortable talking about market updates right now, that's fine. One, make sure that you're putting in the work so that you can understand and be able to articulate that, because that will help you. But pick a topic that you do feel comfortable talking about. When I started here at MBS Highway, I didn't start on the morning updates, and I also, even when I started on the morning updates, I didn't feel extremely comfortable and confident talking what I was talking about. But what did I do? I woke up an extra hour early. I would type up a script initially so that I could try and be prepared. Half the time I wouldn't end up even talking about what I was talking about. I would do the extra research so that I could start to feel comfortable and confident. But also, don't be that person that never puts yourself out there. If I never put myself out there to communicate, it wasn't always, listen, when I started talking and giving speeches at MBS Highway, it was about social media because it's what I feel the most comfortable and confident talking about. But when I had companies start to reach out to me saying, hey, can you talk about market trends and what's happening in the market? I was completely terrified. But again, you just have to put the work in, and you guys have to make that choice. It's a choice up to you for you to do that. So whatever it is that you want to talk about, put that work in, but also don't limit yourself and say that you're never going to be ready, because sometimes we do that and we never end up posting that video or getting out there and creating that content. So put the work in, get it done, realize it's not going to be perfect, post it, and keep growing.
Yeah. And even to feel more comfortable, start with just recording videos. You don't have to go live right off the bat. Record videos and get more comfortable behind a camera. Because I can tell you, the first Facebook Live I ever did, if I go back and watch it now, it's so cringy and it's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, I tried to crack a joke and it was super awkward. I like stuttered. It was so bad. But you just eventually get comfortable, and you're not like, no one right off the bat is going to be a superstar behind a camera, but just start out, record a few videos, and you can edit them a little bit, take out any bad parts. But honestly, at the end of the day, no one really cares if you're stuttering or
No one
your
cares.
hair's messed up.
It makes you more human. And
Yeah.
if you are that kind of person too, I'm telling you, Social Studio is going to be your jam, because we know that all that content is good. We write it in a way, we know that it's good content. We know that what we're saying is correct. And so all you have to do is read it. And I'm telling you, if you do that, it's going to boost your confidence, and then you'll start to get to that place. Maybe after 6 videos or so, it's not going to be instant, but after a certain time period, when you get that feedback, when you practice enough, that's when you're going to start to be like, okay, I got this. Now I want to do a video talking about this. I want to do one talking about this. And you don't even necessarily have to start with video being business related. Some of my favorite people to follow on social media are like the couples that like fight with each other and bicker with each other. And they create these funny videos where, it's just hilarious. And so if you're nervous about it being something like talking about the market, start with something that you are comfortable talking about, whatever that might be. Share your kids, share your pets, share whatever. This is a great one too that I've seen a lot of people do, and it actually does pick up a lot of engagement within the algorithm, is like if you travel a lot or you're going out on the weekends, do here's a New Jersey check and showcase where you're at. Here I'm at, Homedale Park, where there's not a lot going on, or whatever the case may be. Just something that you're comfortable with to just get consistent with video.
Mm-hmm. As far as the algorithm, I'd love your opinion on this because I think it's a lot of the industry coaching groups that coach on this is posting something just looking for engagement. So some sort of like engagement hook where you're asking like, what was your first job? And then the next day, maybe posting something that's more industry related to make sure that you're showing up. Is that like a best practice that you would recommend?
Yeah, I actually give speeches and talk about that all the time. So what
Okay.
you want to do before you post a video, and I highly encourage this, especially if you haven't been consistent with posting, it probably won't make too much of a big difference if you have been consistent with posting. But if you haven't, what you want to do is you want to get people, as many people engaging with your content. And likes don't really mean a lot. Like if people comment on something, that's more important for the algorithm than liking something. So what you want to do is post an engagement question. And I like to do this as like your Facebook status on Facebook on your personal page, not your business page. It needs to be your personal page. You're not going to add an image to this, but all you're going to do is you're going to go to Facebook. I'll try and show you guys. You're just going to go to Facebook and you're going to do a status, which is like right here. So you're not going to you're not going to add an image, but you'll notice if you text, you can do these little colorful backgrounds and you can do that. That's fine, but not an image. And all you're going to do is post a question. The one I just gave last week and I was speaking in St. Louis is, does pineapple belong on pizza? Okay, we had people post that. They were getting 200, 500, so many comments on this thing. And people love to talk about themselves. Plus, when it's something like, does pineapple belong on pizza? People have opinions, let me tell you, and they want you to know. So post an engagement question like that. You'll get tons of comments. Then what you also want to do is you want to go back and you want to comment to their comment. Because what that does is it boosts our MSI. Our MSI is meaningful social interaction. So anytime we get a like, anytime we get a comment, anytime someone responds to our story, watches our story, whatever, that's all boosting our MSI. And the higher our MSI, the more they're going to turn on that spigot for the algorithm. And the more they turn on that spigot, the more people are going to see your content. So you want to do an engagement post, and then a day after, or the next day, whatever the case may be, that's when you want to post that video that's really pertaining to your business, because all those people that commented on your stupid, does pineapple belong on pizza? Well, now they're all going to see your video that's pertaining to your business. So I love that tactic. Again, it's mostly useful if you're not consistent with social media to really get that engagement up there.
Yeah.
If you are, you might not notice as much of a big kind of jump in the views and the likes and the comments on your video that you're posting, but it's definitely a good tactic.
Cool. Good to know. All right. Well, that was the questions that we had lined up beforehand. If anyone else has questions, put them in the Q&A or the chat. But otherwise, Megan, if you want to touch on a few just like tools and best practices in MBS, that'd be great.
Yes. So Roger, this is for you. Here we go. We are going to share my favorite tools. So obviously the morning update is one of my favorite tools because I put a lot of effort into that, you guys. So watch it, please. And if you do watch it and you post it on your stories, feel free to tag me on Instagram. It's I am Megan Anderson. I love to share that stuff. And then you guys, it's a good way for us all to grow. So definitely use that. The other things that I really like, one, if you guys are wanting to just become really good forever learners, make sure you check out our additional content. This comes out weekly and we get a lot of content from here for our Monday morning update as well. Now, the next tool that I want to focus on that I think is really actually quite relevant as of right now, we just got mortgage apps in, refinances have gone down, and that naturally happens as rates tend to go a little bit higher, but I know a lot of people kind of depend upon that refinance activity. It's a big portion of their business. So how do we maintain that level of refinance activity no matter what market that we're in? Well, no, you cannot post the morning update. It's just for you guys. But again, that's where I encourage you to come in, Robert, and create you kind of recapping that morning update video and positioning yourself as the trusted advisor. So let's get back into this refinance debt consolidation tool. Now I'm going to click demo on this just to save us some time so we can get through some other tools. But We plug in their monthly qualifying income, their location. This individual purchased a $500,000 home back in November of 2017. Now you can edit all these values, but again, we're just doing a quick scenario here. This individual has not refinanced yet, but at the time they took out a loan amount of $400,000. It was a 30-year conventional fixed rate at 2.75%. We can't even get rid of MI for this client. And now here's the fun part. We're going to add in their current debts and obligations. So you'll see over here, I already have some in. Pretty typical scenario. They have some credit cards. They did some damage at Best Buy. They have a Chevy and they got some alimony. So once we do that, we're going to put in where we're looking to refinance them to. So we're looking to refinance them. This is an ugly scenario, but brace yourselves. This could become our future. We're going to refinance them to a 30-year conventional fix, but we're going a whole percentage higher and we can't even get rid of MI. I know a lot of originators that would say, okay, I'm going to call the next lead. Don't do that. Walk through the scenario with them. Because even if we can't help them with MI, and here it gets even uglier, we're going a whole percentage higher, we can't get rid of MI, and there's $4,000 in closing costs. So what do? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Client, and you'll notice at first it doesn't look like it's a good scenario, but hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, since you purchased your home, you've been building equity, which is represented here by this white space. Now, what if we were to use some of that equity? Listen, I know that your significant other isn't going into work as much right now, and you're worried about racking up credit card debt. Well, what if we use that equity that you've built in your home to mitigate that debt, pay it off? Now, the system's smart enough to know, listen, no matter how many times you try and click on alimony, that sucker isn't going anywhere. You can't include that in here, okay? But we share with the client, if we were to do that, it could save you over $1,000 a month. Now, not only that, but we have this nifty little tool here, and you should be asking everyone this because still a lot of people are working from home, and ask them, hey, is there any room in your house that you've been thinking about remodeling? And this will actually give you kind of a scenario. So here we are in Seattle where 1% of people are putting in an in-ground pool, but hey, 39% of people are renovating their bathroom. So they say, you know what? Yes. Oh my gosh. We've been wanting to remodel our bathroom. We share one sink. He's disgusting. I just can't deal with him anymore. It's like a fight every morning. Please help us. All right, well, how much do you think you're going to need? Well, I think we're going to need about $15,000 to renovate our bathroom. Great. Let's go ahead and see what this looks like. So I'm saving you a little less per month, but we're mitigating your fears. We're paying off your debt. We're getting you $15,000 cash in hand to renovate your bathroom. And let's say they come at you at this point in time and they say, you know what? This all sounds really awesome, but I got to be honest with you. Like, we've been paying this 30-year mortgage down. Like, I don't know how I feel about getting in another 30-year commitment. Completely understand, Mr. and Mrs. Client. So what if instead of you pocketing this extra money that I'm saving you through debt consolidation, you reinvest that back into your mortgage? So what the same monthly payment that you've been making now, you're just going to continue to make that payment. And if you were to do that, listen, if you left my office here today and did nothing, you'd have 26 years and 1 month left on your mortgage. If you're going to do what I'm advising you to do today, you're going to have 13 years and 8 months left on your mortgage. And not only that, but since we're paying this off sooner, overall, I'm able to increase your net worth by $221,000. Are you ready to refi? My guess is they'll say yes, but let's say they come at you with one more objection and they say, well, you know what? I feel like we could really use an extra $500 a month. I don't know. What would it look like if we didn't do that? Well, let's see. We can come in here. Okay, they're going to put $500 a month cash in hand. That's going to leave them an extra $918, putting back into that mortgage. Now, instead of 13 years, it's 16 years, 10 months. Are you ready to go? They're going to be asking, where do I sign? Now, all of these, you guys can go ahead and export these as images if you want to post them to social media. Personally, I do think it can be a little like text heavy and graphic heavy to just post that on social media. So what I really do encourage you guys to do is to take all of these as a more so approach of who was the client that I'm helping? Who was the client that I helped with this? How can I turn that into a video? And then use that call to action at the end to promote them getting this piece from you or you helping them. I think that's a really great way. Now, if you guys want to export this as an image and maybe you're part of like a group on Facebook of, real estate agents in the local area and you're trying to, obviously this one wouldn't necessarily pertain to real estate agents, but like our buy versus rent or the bid over ask one that we went over. by all means, export those as an image and you can post those within those Facebook groups. I do see that performing really well. Like, hey, who has an open house this weekend that wants an open house flyer? Here's an example of what I can create for you guys. And you're part of a Facebook group where it's just real estate agents in the local area. That performs really well, because then you get someone that says, oh, I want one. And then what happens to all the other agents? They go, I want one too. I want one too. So that performs really well. But I will say, exporting these as images, full images, and posting that on like a Facebook post it's not going to perform very well because it's too much text and yada, yada. But feel free to take different portions of these as well. Maybe you take a screenshot of just this and have it alongside a video, or maybe you just do a video again, walking through the piece and then post that video. That's going to get a lot more engagement than just posting it as an exported piece. Where did you get to that last presentation? I don't know exactly what you're asking.
Yeah, Melissa, I'm gonna allow you to talk just to clarify on that, if you don't mind. You're muted, but you can.
Hi.
There you
Hi.
go. Hi,
Can you
Melissa.
hear me?
Yep, you're good.
I love that presentation that she just gave for the last 10 minutes, but I couldn't figure out, I was trying to find it on my own. Where did you go to get to that?
Yeah, so the debt consolidation, it's under loan advisor, debt consolidation. And
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yep. And note too, like if you're like, man, I really wish I could do the whole spiel like Megan, I need to hear it like 5 more times. There's a help video here, and it's a dynamic help feature. So no matter what tool you're on, you can click that and a video will pop up. And I think this one's Barry walking you through. So, listen to that a few times too, because a major theme of today's call is confidence. And I think the more comfortable you guys feel presenting this stuff, obviously the more comfortable you're going to be giving it to a client or creating a video from it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Love it. So that's one of my favorite tools right now. We already walked through Social Studio. This is marketing on a different level. So I do want to walk through this one because I actually have new respect for this tool after I purchased my home. So I worked with 2 agents during the process of purchasing my home. And what I noticed is that their marketing during the home buying process was basically non-existent. The only marketing that I was getting on a continual basis. Now, obviously they were sending me, hey, Megan, I saw this home. Like, what do you think of it? Should we schedule a time to go look at it? Obviously they were doing that. But the only consistent marketing that I was getting that was kind of automated was, here's my new listings. And I'll be honest, I was a first-time home buyer, and here these listings were coming in the 1.2 million range, all this stuff. And I was like, like, that's what I imagined myself living in, not, this other home that I'm looking at that I can afford. Like, maybe I should just wait. Now, is that ever how we want our client to feel, is maybe I should just wait? No. So we have to think about the home buying process. And if you think about it, it's very visual. How do people start off? Well, I'm going to go to Zillow. I'm going to type in my area, put in some criteria. Great. They start shopping with their eyeballs. They find a home that they like. Great. I'm going to schedule a tour. All right. So they go to the house. And now they might become attached emotionally, oh my gosh, like I'm imagining myself having coffee out here. This is going to be a great area for this to go in, and this. I love it. They get attached with their hearts. But the way that they end up purchasing that home, it's a financial decision. So we need to market to them in the way that they're actually purchasing, which is through that financial opportunity. So you guys have access to what is called the marketing kit. And you can send these to go out on different intervals. Maybe it's a really hot lead. They want to be out of their house and moved in within 5 months. Great. Maybe you want to market to them every 5 days. Or maybe it's someone like me in the beginning that was a first-time home buyer, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want to buy a home. So maybe we want to hit them, once a month. You can choose. But the first piece that we're going to send out to them, and this is a nice thing to go through because it also kind of recaps the pieces of an MBS Highway, is the real estate report card. So this one shows the health of the housing market within the county or zip code that the client's looking to purchase in. We'll give them, here's how you rank within the US, the median home price, cost per square foot, appreciation, the 5-year appreciation gain. We'll talk about, what inventory looks like there. This is also a great piece for your agents because, listen, it's all fun and dandy going out looking for homes the first 3 weekends, but after about that, you start to get a little discouraged if you're not finding anything. So this can be a great piece for that agent to have, to say, I know we're having a hard time, but that's, look at the inventory in our area. Like, that's why, but that doesn't mean that the opportunity doesn't exist. I know you want that newly renovated home. You want a pool in the back. You want it in this location. But listen, let's get in while rates are low, because we don't see them getting any lower for the time being. Let's get in while appreciation is strong. And in a matter of a few years, you'll have the money to be able to renovate the whole house how you want to. So it's a great piece for them to kind of have. We'll showcase employment, the affordability. This next piece is going to share with them appreciation. So how is that home price going to evolve over time? What does it mean to them? And what is their percent return on their investment? Then we have the cost of waiting analysis. This is actually the #1 requested piece from referral partners. It shares with that client, listen, if you decide to wait to purchase a home, the market's not going to wait with you. Reality check, that home's going to continue to appreciate, which means the longer you wait, well, the higher that monthly payment's going to go up. And not only that, but you're missing out on appreciation and building equity. And then this piece is the buy versus rent scenario. So this one will help answer the question, is it better to buy, better to rent? How much better is it? Is a community report, which kind of breaks down the community in that area, different crime rates, education, things like that. And this piece helps mitigate the fear of a recession, which, thanks to the media, I think people are kind of afraid that we are hitting something bad in the economy. And what happens to home prices at that point in time if I do decide to purchase? Well, these gray bars represent the past recessions, and this blue line is home prices according to Case-Shiller. And I know it's small, but get in here and look at it, because it's quite fascinating to see what home prices have done during the past recessions. I mean, they've done quite well. Oftentimes, they've gone up during recessions, and most of them have gone up at least afterwards pretty exponentially. The only one that was different was the last one, and it was really the housing bubble that led us into the recession, not vice versa. And people get that confused, but they don't need to worry about a housing bubble right now. They don't need, plus, listen, they don't need to worry about it. We'll get into why it's so different right now. So what you're looking at here, each of these bars represents the number of births per year dating back to 1928. You see the different generations. We have baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, and according to Zillow, the average age of a first-time home buyer is 33. So if we scooped up all the 33-year-olds today, we go back 33 years, they land right here on this chart. And you'll notice that after that, the number of births keeps increasing and increasing, just like a staircase, meaning there's going to be a greater demand of people coming in, needing to purchase or rent a home year after year, at least for the next 3 years. And then it doesn't drop off either. It stays at these high levels of 4 million births per year. And as a point of reference, because the media has also been talking about how, oh my gosh, this is so similar to 2006. We're going to have a housing crash, yada, yada. Well, if we were to take the average age of a first-time home buyer in 2006, 33, take those 33-year-olds in 2006 and go back 33 years, they land right here on the chart at 1973. Does anyone know what major law was passed in 1973? Anyone? Bueller? Roe v. Wade, abortion became legalized, and we see a lull in the birth rates. If only builders back in that day and age would have gone back and looked at demographics, they would have said, oh, snap. I should stop putting homes on the market because no one knew was going to be able to come in and purchase the homes that we're putting up. But they didn't. In here, we're looking at supply versus demand. So there's 2 bars for each year dating back to 2002. The blue bar represents household formations. What's a household formation? That's a kid that decides to leave the house, or a couple, they get divorced for whatever reason. They now need 2 roofs over their head instead of 1. Whereas this orange bar represents household completions. That's builders putting homes on the market. And we see for the past 5 years that demand has outweighed supply. Now, we have gotten, recent reports where we do see supply increasing a little bit, but, it's tough right now between the microchips, the shortages, the supply chain issues. It's going to be a while. Not only that, but they basically stopped during COVID, and now they're having to restart everything. They're so behind. It is going to take a while for this to catch up. I mean, years. So we're not at all in the same scenario, because if you go back and you look at 2006, 2007, 2008, I mean, it was literally the exact opposite scenario. So don't need to worry about that. And the last piece is going to share with them, how amortization works. And if they put extra money into their mortgage, they could generate an extra savings. So that's a really great piece to use as well. Definitely recommend that one. And the last one that I'm going to share with you guys when we have some time is I'm going to share with you the loan compare cost of waiting. There's two portions to this tool. The first portion is loan comparison. Those are for those people that are like, do I want to go with upfront MI? I don't even know with MI. Do I want to go the 15-year or 30-year? I don't even know. Will you write them all up for me and let me see? And then this cost of waiting piece, this is the one I was telling you is the number one requested piece from referral partners. And again, I'm going to click demo because we have 5 minutes left. But what you do with this is you plug in that property information, you plug in the loans that the client wants to compare. And then here's a breakdown summary. So maybe we want to highlight to them how the rates are different, how the points are different, what have you. Then we're going to give them a snapshot. So here's your total monthly cost snapshot for each of the different loan options. You'll notice here that we're at year 7. Well, we can zoom this out to whatever year it is we want to take a look at, and it will break it down for us. It'll show us the total paid on principal and interest, and you can toggle between the two here. And I love this because it just makes the point really quickly. I know a lot of you are probably doing this on your yellow pad, but listen, your client's going to enjoy looking at this later a lot better than your yellow pad. So here, we're at year 4 where every loan looks, pretty equal, but we can go ahead and zoom out and show them that that's not the case. It's a different scenario. What loan is going to be best for them? Well, in this case, if they're going to live there 10 years, I might recommend that 30-year fixed at 2.75 with 2 points in upfront MI. Let's say now all of a sudden they're saying, I feel a little bit hesitant about going with points. Great. We can remove the points. And here we can start to break down what is going to be the best option for them. And we'll share with them the remaining balance on that loan. And here's the fun part. You walk through this with them. They say, okay, you know what? That 30-year fixed at 2 point, now let's go with one with 0 points. 30-year fixed at 3.25 with 0 points in monthly MI. That's the option. But listen, if we don't win this home, it doesn't get accepted, then you know what? I'm just done. I'm not going to look for like a year. All right, well, let's go ahead and see what that might look like, Mr. and Mrs. Client, because appreciation is pretty strong here. So that home's going to continue to appreciate, which means the longer you wait, the higher the loan amount's going to be, the higher the down payment's going to be, and who knows where rates are going to be at that point in time. You guys can edit any of these values to play out whatever scenario, but the most important thing is this table right here. We share with them, due to that home appreciating, if you wait a year, it's going to cost you an extra $200 a month on that payment difference. But the reason you want to purchase today, Mr. and Mrs. Client, is because if you don't, you're missing out on property appreciation and amortization. Waiting just 1 year is going to cost you $37,000. Are you sure you want to wait? Or maybe we want to talk about coming in above asking price. And again, I just want to remind you guys, as we go through this, constantly be thinking about how you can leverage all this content to create content for social media. And not only that, but you guys get so many amazing services and just being part of the art of home ownership. You guys do something very different. And I had a call with David White not too long ago. I see Jules on here too, but I had a call with David White. And he was talking about all the, the amazing things that you guys get as part of being part of this group. I want you guys to think creatively about how you can leverage that in social media and content like that as well. I mean, if you guys are, you have all these people to do cleaning services, to do all this stuff, leverage that, because that makes you different. And it's like a white glove service that so many people, they'd pay extra for that. I mean, I would pay extra for all the stuff that you guys do. And it's just something that you guys offer that can really set you apart. And get creative with whatever it is that you do. I was talking about David White. Well, David White has like this whole adoption dog thing that every time he closes a loan, it pays to get a dog adopted. And it's something that he believes in. Not only that, but how many people love content of puppies? You guys, I just have to. I just have to.
Thank you. He's so cute. I love that.
He's the best.
But you're right. Everyone loves dogs. I saw David White's post and it was awesome. He's kind of like forming his whole social media around that. I don't think he's on the call today, but if you guys want some like inspiration of content, David White does a great job. He works art of homeownership into it. He works some of his personal life into it, which is a great touch as well. So that's a great example of one of our partners. I mean, we have a few of them that really adopt it through social, but he's a great example of content to take after.
Yeah, get at it, guys. Remember, it is up to you. Be the example, and you guys are all part of this group. Keep each other accountable, you know, and be there and support each other. And just know that you guys are already going above and beyond just being part of this group. So leverage it.
100%. Well, Megan, thank you so much. Ton of takeaways today. You guys will all get a recording Friday morning that will go out to all of our partners. So I think the biggest takeaway is just start with video. Don't recreate the wheel, because MBS and all the other tools are providing great content. So just get in front of a camera, record something, post it this week. It'll be great.
Bye,
Megan,
guys.
thanks so much. Snoop, great to meet you.